Hello and welcome back to the agenda. I'm so sorry about that. The bloody internet went bloody tits up and I lost Phil. And then the stream stopped because I didn't toggle the toggle to say disable auto stop. So sorry about that. Don't blame me. Blame the Scottish internet, Phil. Sorry, where were we? We were talking about the appointments to cabinet, and you were
Yes.
about to tell us who you were.
So there were three interesting appointments.
Interesting appointments. So we were talking about
So
Bridget Phillipson before you broke up.
yeah. So
Um,
Bridget Phillipson
yeah,
was before Education Secretary and Minister for Women and Equalities. Now she's lost the education brief to Lucy Powell, but she remains Women and Equalities Minister, but she also remains in Cabinet. Now, sometimes if a minister just has that, it's a very considered junior brief on its own.
yeah.
So I've not heard anyone asking Burnham this. I can't ask him. But I would ask, has he done that so that Bridget Phillipson, has he basically told her you can now focus fully on Labour's priorities of halving violence against women and girls over the next decade?
Well, I'm assuming that's what the plan is.
But no
Um,
one said.
yeah, yeah. But they did make a big thing about violence against women and girls, VAWG.
Mm.
And I was going to say about the World Cup, we've just got a report out about domestic violence going through the roof
No,
um, as, a,
unfortunately,
as
that's
a result of the World Cup. Something that Sarah Puchin, privately educated MP for Runcorn and Helsby, she made a video saying, I hope the boys
yeah,
win in the football
yeah,
match because otherwise, women get beaten up.
yeah. Making it the fault of the football players, not the people doing the beating up.
Yes, yeah. Which is often, I mean, that's going beyond victim blaming, isn't it? It's blaming
Yeah,
people that have got nothing to do with it, really.
exactly.
People who are violent towards women will always be violent towards women. It just gives them
Until
an
they're
excuse,
stopped.
you know.
Until
Yeah,
they are stopped.
until they are stopped. Yeah, but
Until you
also,
increase the likelihood of detection and
yeah.
the harshness of the punishment.
And whenever you hear these stories, the first question that so many people ask is, "Why did you stay with him? Why did you stay?" It's always put on the woman rather than
Yeah,
saying to the man, "Why did you hit her? Why
yeah,
did you do that horrible
exactly.
thing?
Yeah.
Why did you do?" Um, yeah, it's anyway. So we've got 23 members of the cabinet. Who are your other two? You said you had another two. So you have
So
Bridget
there are
Phillipson
two.
that you thought was
There's
interesting.
Matthew Pennycock, I think, who's housing minister now, and there's someone else. I'm afraid I've forgotten his name because I didn't know who he was before, and he's the minister for AI. Now, these are both junior positions, and yet they're in cabinet. Now, you do sometimes have a couple of junior ministers in cabinet. It's a way of the prime minister signalling their priorities. It's a
It's
way of saying, although this is a junior position, what their brief is so important, we need them in cabinet.
yeah, yeah.
So that is him saying his priorities are effectively housing, but also AI.
Yeah, so Matthew Pennycook for housing and planning, and it's Kanishka Narayan has been appointed the Minister for Artificial Intelligence. Now, this is the first government position for someone for AI in the world, I believe. Do you think this is a good move, or do you think it's over egging
It
the pudding
depends
a
what
little
their
bit?
brief is, doesn't it? Because it hides a multitude of sins. A minister for AI could, in theory, be there to make sure that suitable safeguards remain in place. And there's lots of things we need safeguards for. First of all, protecting jobs. Second of all, protecting people from the abuses of AI.
Yeah,
Um, Such as most famously from Grok this year, but I mean, AI in general has been used abusively. Or is it purely a promotion brief?
yeah, yeah,
So I want to see, I don't know if the brief has been published yet. Sometimes it takes a while for ministerial briefs to be published. But I mean, Starmer created a brand new ministry in that we had for the very first time a minister for nature. I haven't checked if that still exists. Maybe I'll have
yeah,
to just quickly check now. It better do. Um, but yeah, Minister for I don't know what the brief is as yet.
yeah,
Oh no, it's fine. We've still got a minister. It's someone different. It's no
yeah.
longer Mary Creer. It's Rebecca Power now, apparently. But we still do have a
And
Minister
Minister
for
for
Nature, so
Nature.
that's
That's
good.
good. Hamish Faulkner as a joint brief for intergovernmental and European relations. So this is pushing for that EU reset, or re-establishing our relationship with the EU, which I think is really, really important. And although a lot of us would like to rejoin the EU tomorrow, obviously there is a lot of bridge building to do in this country. Never mind in the EU, with the EU. And there's a long way to go, I feel, with that. But this is something that I think they seem to be very, it's something that they want to see. Now, I just want to ask a quick question, Phil, about the Metro Mayor election in Manchester. Now, this is going to be a
Next week.
form of AV. It is a ranked voting. You're only allowed 2 votes. Normally, you can put as many figures in as you like. So you could vote for 32 different people if you wanted to, in an election with 32 candidates. But in this, you can vote for your main person to be mayor, and then you have a second vote, which is another X in the column to say that.
So you get to put your pragmatic vote in your second one.
Yes, pretty much. So is this something that could be rolled out across the country before the next election without upsetting the 2024 manifesto commitments too much? Because they did talk about
it wouldn't be a breach of the manifesto, but you couldn't actually now do it. There's not enough time
before the next general election.
Yeah, there's no point. I mean, first of all, it's an utterly pointless discussion because Andy Burnham's not going to do it. But also, you're sort of running out of time and also it's a huge political risk because it looks like Labour, are in trouble. They want to change the goalposts.
This isn't.
And there's no need to. There's no need to. Best thing Andy Burnham can do is order a commission to look at it. He can do that now. Order a commission to look at it, and then get other parties on board. Obviously, the Conservative Reform UK might actually they might. I mean, there's this. I mean, I went to the launch of this. There's Votes Matter published some research on different types, and one of the types covered in here is one that Nigel Farage says, well, if we have to have reform, I'd go for that one. It's like an AV plus. I don't mind AV plus. So you never know, but you won't get the Conservatives on board with it. But what you should do, get as many parties as possible to feed into it. The commissioner will then come up with a recommendation for what type of system we should have. You can stick that in the manifesto. Yeah. And then after the election, it doesn't matter whether Labour win a majority or not, as long as there's a progressive majority. He'll already have buy-in from the Lib Dems and the Greens, because if they all agree to get behind this commissioner and all agree to go with his or her recommendations, then you can instantly put it in place after the next election. You can just go back in, done. And it's all worked out, and there's no party politicking because you all agree to go. Obviously, the Tories won't. Reform UK may or may not, but it's done. And then you can have it. And that's the easiest way to do it. And given that Nigel Farage is in real trouble, I don't think he's going to come out the other end of this one in a good state.
Fingers crossed.
There's now more, and given that the Greens clearly do want to, they want to be part of a coalition. They don't just, that's been encouraging. So that means they may act as far as they can. I don't think the Green Party will be able to act completely responsibly in the next election because they won't have the money to. They won't have the intelligence to be able to do it, and I mean, like, as in the knowledge, the polling,
I keep saying this about the Greens. God love them, they cannot win an election. Neither can the Lib Dems. They just don't have enough money.
But they can have enough MPs. It doesn't matter. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter whether Labour get a majority or it's just a progressive. I think there will be a progressive majority at the next election. Andy Burnham, yes, could shit the bed. He could do a Liz Truss. It's not impossible. Right, he could, because he's clearly going to take a few more risks, and one of those risks may go badly wrong. But assuming it doesn't, and he seems to have a bit of caution, then Reform UK are going to. They were always going to come under much greater scrutiny, anyways. We got close to the election, but Nigel Farage, he doesn't know what to do. That stunt this week proved he doesn't know what to do. Like, what's he done? A couple of weeks ago, he triggers a by-election out of desperation, goes wrong. This week, he does a tiny little, he tries to capture the headlines with this tiny little thing. Do you remember? I remember during the 2017 general election where Theresa May tried to do this photo thing where she was surrounded by supporters and stuff like that. And then someone did the wide shot view of it, and you could see it was like a small collection of people around her. It was like this tiny number of like supporters. And it was just looking so sad that they'd had to zoom in to make it look like she was surrounded by like this throng. And Nigel Farage is doing that. It shows to me he doesn't actually know how to get control back. He's acting out of desperation. So I think he's in real trouble.
Yeah.
And so I'm more confident now. And I've been saying to people for a couple of years, Reform UK are going to hit headwinds, but they really are now.
Yeah.
And if he walks, then there will be a bit of an old battle. They will carry on. Reform UK will still be viable. They were viable before him, but they will now have a battle about who takes them over, because since the 2024 election, they've invited in a lot of ambitious Tories. So there'll be fun and games there. So I'm much more confident. So all I want is that commission get not just electoral reform in the manifesto, but point to the specific form that it's going to take. It's like, here's the detail. You're giving us a blank check. This is it. This is what it's going to look like. The Lib Dems have agreed. The Green Party's agreed. Maybe Reform UK have agreed. And that's what we're going to go with.
Cathal, thank you very much for the €5. First super chat of the afternoon. Thank you so much, Cathal. Apologies. No need to apologies. No need to apologise when you're offering money. This is fine. As an aside, if Count Binface gets maybe 30% in Clacton, might we see the major parties not stand in a following by-election?
No, they will. But if Count Binface gets 30%, Nigel Farage is going to be humiliated. That'll be humiliating for him. It means that in the most one of the most reform-friendly parts of the country, 30% of people preferred a bin. A joke candidate. Right? They preferred that to Nigel Farage. So then you think about, what does that mean in tight, winnable contest reform, but tight contests in other parts of the country? It's like, mate, no.
Yeah. Unquiet Badger says, Reform makes me laugh when they send out their best on the news rounds. 30 IQ, Leanderthal, and Sideshow Bob Jenrick.
Are you talking about the party chair and their economic spokesperson? Two of the most senior members of the party.
I mean, them and I've seen a lot of Layla Cunningham and Zia Youssef. Layla Cunningham and Zia Youssef, not Reform MPs, not MPs at all. Zia Youssef was blown up on Question Time the other day when he was on there, and it turned out that he had been turned down from positions as running. He'd been told he wasn't allowed to run as an MP. He tried to in Reform. They said no.
I think we know the reason for that.
Well, why would they have said no to him? I can't work it out. But yeah, it does look like it's all falling down for Nigel Farage. But we've been here before with Donald Trump, where we all thought he might go to actual jail for his actual crimes.
Donald Trump, though, is it's literally a choice between two people, and the Democrats were shy. So, whereas it's not in this country, it's first past the post, but with multiple viable options.
One of them is a bin in this case. So let's have a look at who else. Something interesting happened with Johnny Reynolds. He was business, and he was taken over to Chief Whip, which he hated that job. I can say that now, I think. And then he's now back at business, but they've changed the title. It's now BIST. It's now Business Innovation, Science and Trade. So let's talk about this, Phil, because this is quite interesting that science has been moved over to the business.
It hasn't been moved. They've axed it. It hasn't been moved. If it was moved, so would its budget be. But then why would you do that? I'm going to check it out. I'm going to guess the budget hasn't made it over there. So it's been axed. The science department's been axed.
Innovation and Technology was the old department.
And it's literally a department that promotes some of the most growth-inducing industries in this country. I mean, Burnham says he wants to increase industrialization. Well, which department? Like that, you would say
does
that
it make
department
sense to have one department there for business and science if that's what you're going to push?
Because now you'll have a minister who every time something like think about the British Steel situation in Scunthorpe, where
Yeah.
Jonathan Reynolds, as business secretary, had to pull MPs and of a Saturday to take it over really quickly before the bloody blast furnace ran down. Every time some aging, creaking part of our more established industry needs major input like that, and there are other businesses going around the world trying to strike trade deals as well,
Yeah.
they're going to lose sight. They're going to lose sight of all the stuff the science department does,
Yeah.
which is encouraging these new growth engines of the future. It was called, people used to describe it as the department for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think this means? I mean, that's
Massively short-sighted
a
move.
lot of responsibility for one ministry, and yeah, you're right. It's going to be
Every minister has multiple responsibilities,
yeah,
and on a day-to-day basis, you focus on whichever is the fire that needs putting out.
yeah,
So things fall down the wayside. And it's like, it's why some things will always fall down. There will always be some things the government intends to do, and you'll look back in a few years and go, well, you didn't really do anything about that. And it's because there are more priorities than there are ministers.
yeah, yeah.
So no, even if he increases the number of ministers in that department now,
Mm.
even if he increases the budget a little bit, it won't be that the whole of the science department's budget goes over. This will be a cost-cutting measure.
Yeah.
It's a cost-cutting measure. So yeah.
Not great. Okay, Angela Eagle, environment, food and rural affairs.
Yeah, I don't know. No idea what she will be like with farmers.
That their her responsibility will include farming, food security, water, flooding, nature, and the regulation of privatized water companies. Obviously, this is a big thing at the moment. Burnham's looks like he's going to go after Thames Water, which needs to be done in one way or another.
Yeah.
And what are the perils and pitfalls of it? Doesn't look like he wants to go for full nationalisation, because I think, as you keep pointing out, that would be problematic because of the amount of investment that we need in the system, because that was all taken out for shareholders' dividends. But it looks like there is a very good chance that this time in October, November, Thames Water will be under government control.
Yeah. So, I mean, the term that's coming up is not nationalisation, but deprivatisation, which just basically means, I don't know if your stream's wobbling a bit, but which just basically means that it's no longer got shareholders monkeying about with it. That's fine for me. I mean, just get rid of the profit for me. I don't care whether it's a not-for-profit or what. Sometimes, again, what I've just said about ministers, you only want so much nationalised anyway, because remember, if something's nationalised, that means a minister has to have they'll still appoint someone to do the day-to-day run, but a minister still needs to be effectively the chief executive. And again, things come up and then they lose sight of it.
Yeah.
So I don't mind, as long as there's no profit in the system, I don't mind not-for-profits being set up. You do have to be a bit careful, because then you'd argue that's the same sort of thing as with the post office. So how do you make sure you don't do the same? I mean, because what happened with the post office, called the Horizon scandal, is they were told to behave like a private company, but of course they're not a private company.
Yeah.
So they just massively took the piss. Yeah. So it is difficult. There's pros to everything you come up with, but I don't mind not, being just given over to a not-for-profit.
Yeah. Okay, Yvette Cooper, she's been moved from the Foreign Secretary to Health. She's Health and Social Care Secretary. Yeah. This is a demotion. I mean, there's no two ways about it. This is a demotion from one of the high officers of state.
But at the same time,
go on. I think you're going to say what I was going to say.
I think it's personally good for her, because she's been in a seat in the last couple of elections that's been ropey. There's no votes in foreign affairs.
Yeah.
Whereas if she's got a big job on, not just because it's the NHS, but because Andy Burnham wants to accelerate social care plans, she could do herself a lot of credit for that job.
Yeah. Yeah.
She could get a lot of credit, and it gives her more opportunity to sell herself to the public than as Foreign Secretary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, although it is a demotion in terms of the strict hierarchy, I would suggest that it's a better job for her.
Alex Norris has been made Justice Secretary and Lord Chancellor, but Justice Secretary is the big one. As far as the prison fiasco is concerned, Burnham has put the brakes on the early release of prisoners. Was due to start in September.
Yeah, he needs to
Where
sort something out for that. I don't know why they don't just do it. Like, it's really simple for me. Well, it can't be simple, but it's relatively simple in that. Like, don't do it for violent criminals. Like, the previous prisons minister, James Tinson, was brought in specifically because Labour accepted there were too many people being sent to prison. Like, people being sent to prison for a few months. It's like, can we not think of some other way of punishing them?
yeah,
So why aren't they just doing that? Get rid of people who are in for bullshit.
yeah. Daily Blasé's in the chat. Hi Darren, how you doing, mate? Good afternoon, Graham and Phil. I do hope everyone is very well. Yeah, I'm all right. Are you all right, Phil?
I am. We're both better than the stream.
Nike Star says it's shocking how fast Burnham has shut the bed with saying no to rent caps. I didn't know he had said no to that.
Yeah. That's in fact, that's what I mean about in the news bulletins today. That's the Burnham thing.
Oh, okay.
Technically Angela Rayner, but still, his. Yeah, I would have
I was
said
going to
there
talk about
might
Angela.
well, and there probably are very good reasons to be very cautious about it, but ruling it out this early, I don't know that there was a good reason to do that.
Yeah.
I would have maybe just kept it as a wait and see. You could maybe have even done something quite Trumpian about it and said something like, well, we don't really want to. I mean, maybe if the private rental sector would like exercise a bit more,
Restraint.
Of like, like a
Decency.
social conscience,
Yeah.
maybe we won't have to. You can take that line. Governments do that all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
we don't really want to interfere, but the situation at the moment is not really good enough.
Untenable.
Maybe you could sort it out yourselves, do
Yeah.
it yourselves, and then we don't need to interfere. Maybe that's the line I would have taken. But
So so to come back to Angela Rayner, so she's been made Housing, Communities and Local Government Secretary. This is the post that she had before she
yeah.
was kicked out for not paying enough stamp duty, and it turns out that this was not her fault. She hadn't
No,
purposely
it's all
misled
fine.
the tax man. Essentially, it was to do with not necessarily
Very obscure tax law that even Tory MPs said, we should just change that system.
This isn't to do necessarily with property law as such. It's more to do with trust law and how trusts work when you set up a trust for your children. Anyway, so she's returned to the post that she held before leaving Starmer's government. And her responsibility is going to include house building, and they're talking like 1 million houses to be built. I don't know how they're going to do this fast. Local government planning, devolution, and the Office for Equality and Opportunity, apparently. And Burnham has promised a major expansion of council and social housing, including the use of public land. And the existing programme contains £39 billion for social and affordable homes, but the Resolution Foundation says additional funding or changes to the housing mix may be required to meet the government's lofty ambitions.
Also, additional builders. I don't know how they're going to.
Yeah.
And also wants to go big on devolution. That would be her gig as well. So she's going to be quite busy.
Yeah. So she's apparently put in charge. Not in charge. Said that there's she's going to be operating from Number 10 North. So that's yeah. 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 And then we've got obviously Lucy Powell has been made Education Secretary. She's a deputy leader. She was voted in by Labour members as the deputy. And Keir Starmer didn't seem to be too happy about that. He wanted people to vote for Bridget Phillipson. And now she's had not only the deputy leader position taken from her by Lucy Powell. Now she's had her brief as education secretary taken from her by Lucy Powell. So no, but she ran for it. I mean, like her opportunity to be. Yeah, okay, all right. You got me on the technicality there, Phil. She had the opportunity to be that taken away from her by the other person who ran, who actually won. Because we like Lucy Powell more than we like Bridget Phillipson. Because Bridget Phillipson is a little bit problematic. Interchangeable. Well, Bridget Phillipson's got a reputation for being a bit turfy, Phil. Well, oh, we can't hear Phil. We've lost Phil. 1 second, Phil. I will sort you out momentarily. Sorry, everyone who can't hear Phil. Okay. Phil, can you speak? Hello? I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Okay, 1 second. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry about this, everyone. Don't know why my computer is being a pain in the arse. My computer hates me today. Oh. Okay, Phil, can you hear me now? Phil? Come in, Phil. Well, I meant, can we hear you? Phil's not coming through. Why is Phil not coming through? Okay, let me just change the properties here. Make it default. Okay, and then let's do this here. Properties. Okay, Phil. Hello. Nope, still not coming. I don't know what has happened here. Your sound is not coming. I can hear you in my ears. You're coming through loud and clear into my ears, but you're not coming through on the old audio mix. Just 1 second. Can you everyone just bear with me for 1 second? I'm just going to do something else. Haha. Well, hello. Right. Now, why is this not working? Okay. Drop him and bring him back. What I'll have to do is I'll have to just close OBS and then open it again. So please bear with us. You're going to get the swirly little wheel of doom, and we're going to be we're going to. I did. we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes' time anyway. But we'll stay where you are. We shouldn't have to start a new stream. Hello and welcome back to the agenda. Sorry about all these technical problems. I don't know why Phil's microphone stopped working there, but say hello, Phil.
Hello.
Hey, excellent. Right, okay, so that's sorted now. Thanks for everyone in the chat for letting me know that we had no sound coming from Phil. So we were talking about Powell and Pressburger, no, Powell and Bridgetson. Bridget
Phillipson.
I'm just making.
They're basically the same. People complaining about like the issue with trans thing. She was enacting policy as dictated to her by 10 Downing Street. If Lucy Powell had that job, she would have done the same. And you'd be moaning about Lucy Powell and not Bridget Phillipson.
Well, maybe so.
They're identical politicians. They've got an almost identical background, other than Bridget Phillipson actually did come from a poor background, but they both came from a modest background.
Yeah.
Very similar politicians.
I mean, the only person I can see in the cabinet now who went to private school is our friend who's the Minister for AI.
No, Louise Haigh went to a private school.
Oh, did she? Louise Haigh.
Yeah.
Okay. But the guy who's in charge of AI, apparently he grew up in poverty and he ended up getting a scholarship to Eton.
All right. Okay. Eton? Okay.
I'll let him off.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, okay,
I
sure,
think,
but it's still Eton's Eton, isn't it?
I think it was Eton. I don't know. It might have been Harrow. One of those posh things. Anyway, so who else have we got in the cabinet? We'll quickly go through it because we need to wrap up it momentarily. We've got Angela Rayner mentioned there. Pat McFadden.
He's staying there. That's
retained
just the same.
as workers' pension secretary. Guy who's been in charge of the same thing forever. He's been in that role since 1997, hasn't he?
Well, no, I mean, Liz Kendall began there under Starmer, and then he moved.
Lisa Nandy stayed at Digital Culture, Media and Sport.
She's not really doing anything there, so I don't know what that's about. But
Hilary Benn's gone. And
Chris Bryant's taken over.
Chris Bryant for Northern Ireland Secretary. What's the story there? I mean, I like Chris Bryant, so I'm quite chuffed that he's in cabinet.
I think This is the aspect for me of Andy Burnham. There might be a strategic reason for it, but it looks vindictive. Because although the cabinet looks balanced across different wings of the party and so on, it's notable that he ejected every single close Starmer ally, even the very competent ones like Steve Reed, David Lammy, and Darren Jones. There's not a single one left. That seems to me a bit unnecessarily vindictive. I don't know why he needs to be vindictive, given that Starmer posed no barrier to him in the end, taking over nice and easily.
Yeah.
But but there it is. But so it may have just been as simple as that.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how Chris Bryant does. He's a lot more. He did used to shoot his mouth off at one time. He's a lot more mellow now. I mean, that doesn't really get you very far in Northern Ireland. The fact that he's Welsh probably helps.
It
not
would
English.
probably be better if he was from Northern Ireland, but whatever.
Well, I mean, Labour don't stand. So, I mean, you can have people from Northern Ireland who then win a seat in Britain, but there aren't too many of them.
Yeah. And obviously, if you're in Northern
they
Ireland,
don't compete in Northern Ireland. I mean, their sister party is the SDLP there.
Yeah. Oh, Tony, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's really, really kind of you. There's a second super chat of the afternoon. Have a great time up there, mate. It's a lovely place with lovely people talking about Scotland. It is very lovely. Although I couldn't get any milk last night, Phil. I had to get oat milk. I'm very sad about that. It's like normal milk, except it's someone's put like.
Well, I made oat milk for my wife one time when she wanted something that wasn't actual milk, but she didn't like that either. So.
Well, there you go. Stephen Kinnock is being kept on as Welsh Secretary, and Douglas Adam. Stephen Kinnock has replaced Joe Stevens. Sorry, Douglas Alexander has been kept on as Scottish Secretary, so he's staying there. But talking of Scotland, Anwar Sanwar has been told to
come down
to the House of Lords.
Yeah, he's got a lot of shit for this in Scotland, even amongst Scottish Labour.
Yeah,
they're not happy with him.
Yeah,
abandoning them.
We've got who else have we got down here? We've got Alan Campbell has been made leader of the House of Commons. We've got Baroness Smith of Basildon. She's the leader of the House of Lords. She remains in that post. Annalise Midgley has been made Chief Whip. She's taken over from Johnny Reynolds at that. She's a close Burnham ally. She's the MP for Knowsley, just outside Liverpool. And she's responsible for, obviously, party discipline, etc. A job that Johnny Reynolds notoriously hated, and they think that she's going to be a bit more easygoing than Johnny was.
Well, it's a shit job. But basically, I mean, the job really, I suppose, is going to be, you've got to set up that communication between the Prime Minister's office and backbenchers.
Yeah.
Which did not happen under Starmer, of course, which is why you ended up with that massive, embarrassing rebellion over PIP.
Yeah. So we've got Chief Secretary to the Treasury is going to be Emma Reynolds, no relation to Johnny. Ellie Reeves, some relation to Rachel, sister. Yes. She's going to be the Attorney General. Now, here's something interesting. So Rachel Reeves has been taken out as Chancellor, but apparently, according to Scuttlebutt, she was offered a juicy role.
I'm not sure she was. I'm not sure she was. So I heard the rumor that she was offered a cabinet position, and then someone said in WhatsApp group that I hadn't read the Times article, but they said the Times was saying it was defence. Now, if it was defence, there's no way she could take that job. So if that's true, that is Andy Burnham pretending to offer a role, but knowing full well she'd have to turn it down because he didn't have the guts to just say, sorry, I don't want you in my cabinet.
Yeah.
So that, for me, is another dodgy move. Yeah. If it's true, it depends what she was actually offered. But there's no way she could do defence, because if you think about it, first of all, she has been heavily critical of the MOD, quite rightly as well, because they are absolutely shite at spending money. They are incredibly wasteful. They have been for decades.
It's well known. Spending money.
Well, they're shit at spend. They spend money on stuff and then go, whoa, what did you do with all this money? Oh, we were going to build this thing and then we scrapped it because you didn't need it. They basically, do you know what they're like? When I was at Manchester in the badminton club, and the team, like we ended up taking it over in the end, the social side of us. But they used to keep wasting money on like parties and stuff. And it's like, no, you're supposed to spend it on your travel to go to the matches, right?
Yeah.
And And that's what the MOD are like. They're just, it's like the Homer Simpson in that episode where he becomes the sanitation
Trash
guy.
of the
Where
Titans.
he just buys the things. Oh, these are amphibious. Are they? Have we tested? Well, just test them. Oh no, they just drowned. Oh dear. Well, we're gonna just buy more. That's what the MOD are like. They're shite. So Rachel Reeves had a proper go at them for that. And she was even saying, look, I'll give you more money, but the Treasury is going to start having a look at the way you're spending it because you're bollocks with spending. And so and then obviously they weren't happy with her for not stumping up enough money either. So there was friction both ways. There's no way you could make her defense secretary.
But it's interesting making John Healey, who left because the MOD wasn't getting as much money as he wanted. Now he's Chancellor. He's going to have to find out how to do that, So the overall cabinet composition,
he knows how to do it.
Just to wrap up, and just to say, we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes' time. So if you want to get the super chats in for Confetti and watch Phil dance, because he loves dancing for the Confetti, we'll get a thumbs up for the Confetti. You've got a few more minutes to drop a couple more super chats in, 3 more super chats. 23 full-time members of the cabinet, including Burnham. 12 of them are women. So
yeah, it looks at one point. I actually did say that it was exactly half women, but that's because they hadn't at that point. There's obviously one appointment missing that I'd missed because it was like,
so it's
I don't know what I'd missed
50% women. More than a quarter represent northwestern constituencies. That's a bit of a change. 14% from minority ethnic backgrounds. I've probably got some new names to add to my private school mafia list, Phil, because 22% privately educated, which is down from the 66% privately educated that Rishi Sunak had, but more than half attended Oxford or Cambridge. And the reshuffle combines Burnham allies, former leadership rivals, returning ministers, and some select members of Starmer's final team. However, perhaps not the people who really stuck with Starmer
there's zero close Starmer allies in there. He's ejected them, and I think
Darren Jones wasn't too happy about this, was he?
Well, no, but I also would say that he was foolish to get rid of Darren Jones. Darren Jones is quite an able fixer. He's a decent communicator, but also he's still on an upward trajectory on his parliamentary career. I could sort of say with Steve Reed and David Lammy, probably they'd peaked anyway. They were still very able. I'm still sad to see them go. But if you've got to move some people in, okay. But Darren Jones is an up and comer.
Yeah.
And you're basically strangling off future talent in the party. And that to me is a sign of ego.
But he tweeted earlier in the evening, he went, I don't care, I'm off to the pub.
Well,
and then hours later, he was like, what are you doing? How have you costed this yet? And what are you saying about the ID cards? And it's like,
mate. I know, and that's not the best way to deal with it. And I certainly don't approve of that.
Yeah.
He was right, however. And also, you've got to bear in mind, Darren Jones rescued the ID. It was, first of all, it's a manifesto. I thought it was quite weird. I saw two literally side by side in the BBC News. Lucy Powell was saying it. Andy Burnham's going to stick to the manifesto. Then right next to it, cancelling the ID scheme. It's like, well, that was in the manifesto, mate. So Darren Jones put a lot of work in, to be fair to him, in turning it into something palatable, which he did. And it is a good policy. So, and the way I described it, by Andy Burnham saying he was going to cancel that and cut VAT, it's like he's spent all this time moaning about Thatcher, and then he's put in a Thatcherite policy. He's cancelled some public investment in order for a universal tax cut.
Yeah,
that's a Thatcherite policy.
Yeah. Yeah,
it might be good policy. I do say, by the way, it's good politics because you just say, I'm going to cut VAT. Everyone interprets that as my bills are going to go down.
Yes. So even though it's
I don't criticize it. But nonetheless, if you're going to moan about Thatcherism and then your first act is to announce a Thatcherite policy, it's like...
Well, his first act was to end rough sleeping. Do you think they can do that
he said he was going election?
Do you think they can do that before the next election?
He's not going to do it at all.
Okay, fucking hell.
I'm not saying it's a sham or anything. But if you look at what he did in Manchester, because that was a big thing in Manchester, and then a few years later... when he said, well, you've got rough sleeping down, but it's still there. He could have said to himself, yeah, but it's the sort of thing you can't actually end unless you've got like
a nation
control of the national levers,
Yeah,
because
because
people
people
were
are
just coming
coming
from outside.
over from
But he
outside. Yeah,
didn't say that. What he said instead was, the reason I said that was to generate the ambition that would get us making much better progress.
yeah,
And he'll say the same
yeah.
again here. So he
Accelerated
won't
national
actually,
effort.
yeah, it's one of these things. If you if you put lots of effort in, if you increase your ambition, you still might not make it, but you'll get a lot further than if you just like plod along. So I don't think he'll end rough sleeping. I don't think he's talking about committing the sort of resources that are going to do that.
Yeah,
But what he may do is
yeah,
make much faster progress. And in a couple of years' time, when he's pulled up on it, he may say, but the reason I said that was so that we could
yeah.
get much faster progress.
So VAT removed from domestic electricity from October this year. Also, the restored £2 bus fare cap, and this is
Yes.
something that I said, God, two
Yeah.
years ago now, when
Yeah.
Rachel Reeves did her first budget, and she announced that the cap would be rising to £3,
Three. Yeah.
£3,
Three.
and I said that's a bad move because people will
Yeah.
notice that every day, and obviously Burnham has decided that this is a good thing to have nationwide, bring everything under the B network. As the next few years go, I think we're going to see more re-regulation of the buses and public transport in general. Obviously, the renationalisation of the trains is still going ahead, and by the end of next year, all of the
Yeah, that should be good.
train companies should be run by the government. And Network Rail has been run by the government for ages now because it's the one bit of the thing that doesn't really make any money. So yeah, and then that all comes within the new B network of Network GB or whatever they end up calling it. It could be a very exciting time for, you know, public transport enthusiasts such as myself. Yeah. Business rate reduction for hospitality and music venues. These are now all announced at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. 3 days in a row. Big policy announcements.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominated the the news agenda for the whole day, which is exactly what we said. You know, you've pointed this out many times. They should be getting ahead of the news instead of allowing dead air space and then
Exactly.
the nightmare that is Nigel Farage, or back in the day Boris Johnson, to just steal all of the political oxygen. Don't give them the opportunity. Get ahead of that, and I think that hopefully that this is going to segue into daily press conference briefings, not necessarily all done by Andy Burnham himself, but by a different minister each day, getting up, 7 in the morning, doing an announcement from number 10 North or number 10 South. Is that what we're calling it? Number 10 proper? What are we going to call the original number 10?
Well, just
The
call it
OG.
number 10.
The OG
maybe
number
that.
10.
Yeah, to that. Yeah.
So yeah, so he's also one thing that sort of flew under the radar a little bit. The National Economic Council. He's revived this body that was established by Gordon Brown in the 2008 financial crisis. It brings senior ministers and regional mayors into national economic decision making, and the first meeting of that is being held in Manchester, and it's talking about reindustrialisation, infrastructure growth, removing obstacles to local development, which I think is really important. And obviously we've already mentioned the early release prisoner release scheme, which has been paused. And there's obviously a lot more to go. We need to find out what he's going to be doing about social housing, public control of essential services, reindustrialisation. We don't really know much about the fiscal policy. Given all that, what would you give?
We know he's stuck to the fiscal policy, but he says he's going to find every bit of flexibility within it if they can.
But I'm sure they're going to find some flexibility somewhere, and they're going to make an announcement at 6 a.m. So that's all we talk about that particular day.
For that, they might not. For that, they may not incur the wrath of Lindsay Hoyle, and they may announce it in a September mini budget.
Right. Yeah.
But that will still then dominate the news.
Are they going to get into trouble when they get back in September?
He might forgive him for becoming prime minister at a time when people will, of course, demand to know some things. But if he does, do you know what? Sod it. Buy him a cup of tea. It'll be fine.
A cup of tea. So, just in general, how do you think the first 5 days has gone?
It's gone well. There's still plenty more that I'm not sure about yet. Like, I'm going to pick on YouTube. He's created a YouTube channel, but is not as yet doing anything decent on it. So will it be another? He clearly understands that. I mean, I do know his Facebook is better than Keir Starmer's.
And TikTok and Instagram.
So I haven't looked at those. I wouldn't. I'm only looking at Facebook and thing is other people can have expertise in the others. But on YouTube, as yet, not only, I mean, it's only new. I can't judge it just yet. And just because he hasn't hit the ground running on that to begin with, he might still be appointed someone who knows what they're doing. However, past experience makes me cynical. And what I would say is at the moment, there is nobody prioritizing although he's created a YouTube channel, there's no one prioritizing it. There's nothing really being done on the Labour YouTube channel. They put his speech on, but that's it.
Yeah.
So I will wait and see. I will judge, but if by October I still can't see a serious attempt to use YouTube, I'm going to say he's missing out because you've got it's. I don't know whether these politicians just think, oh, there's social media. So no, it's not social media. Facebook has a different audience to YouTube. To different to TikTok, to Instagram. That's why the different platforms exist.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. But yeah, so
so far it's fine. So far
it's fine.
Everything's
fine.
If you were to tell me that in 6 months' time it'll be going great guns, I wouldn't have reason to doubt you based on the first week.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so he appears to have hit the ground running rather than face first, which is good. We'll see where we are next week, so please join me for that on the agenda. Phil will be back tomorrow night, I think, at 7 o'clock for a live show on his channel, live stream on A Different Bias. If you're not already subscribed, please go over there and subscribe to Phil's channel. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Get subscribed and you can join in the conversation. And so I'll just left to say thanks so much to Phil, my co-host, for coming on the show this afternoon. Have a great weekend, everyone, whatever you intend to do. I'll be back in the morning with an episode of Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.